welcome back. Today I'm going to play a live rapid game here on camera. I'm going to do the best that I can. I just earlier today slipped below 1200. I'm at 1195 right now. I would like to get back up to 1200, but who knows? I continue to face very tough opponents in the 11 to 1200 range. I've got the black pieces. My opponent has opened with e4. I'm going to play the French defense. That's the one I've been playing the most lately, although it's not the only thing that I've been playing as black against e4. We're going to get the exchange variation. Usually what happens now is we each get these knights out, then we each get bishops out, and then we castle. Every now and then I have the opponent check me with their queen. I'm not sure why well, I don't think I've had that happen. Usually I get this out and then castle. I think they want me to put my pawn there. I've had a lot of opponents play that, and I put this pawn here, and then they go back immediately as if that's what they had planned. So let's just do this and see if they want to trade real quick. They did not. They would rather have their knight there. Okay, let's take the bishop, and then, oh, they want to trade the knight for the bishop. Is that what it is? Okay, I'm not sure what that's about, but let's check them. When they push the pawn up, then I'll bring this bishop back and maybe come around this way. And they're aiming for that. Okay. Let's see if they want to do it now. Let's kick that knight out. I assume they're going to play the b pawn. I've had a few opponents try something like this before, but I don't know what the h3 move was about. I'm going to move the king, so even if they do get this later, it won't be a check. They spend a lot of time delaying castling. Maybe this is an opponent who doesn't castle very often. They've moved the queen up here. Maybe they want to castle this way. They're not going to castle that way right now because I'm going to check them, and they have to block it. And then, let's see, I need to get this other knight out. I wanted to put it here earlier, so let's do that because I wanted to play here. Oh, they castled kingside. Okay. But now they've got the bishop lined up there, so maybe it's not a good idea to play that pawn just yet. Let me get my bishop out of the way of their b pawn and maybe back it in here in just a second. Then I will play c5, I think. And so far, we're pretty close on time here. Let's try c5 now and see if they want to take it. We can trade off the bishops here. They did. Okay, let's see if they want to trade off the bishops. And then I assume they're going to want to trade off some rooks. Yeah, they did. Okay, and now they're going to bring their other rook over there, and I'm just going to slide my queen out of the way, maybe up to c6 here. I think that's probably best. No, they can attack that with the knight really easily. But if they do, I'll just move it. My knight is guarding that square, my rook's guarding that square. But yeah, I assume they're going to put their knight on either e5 or d4 right now. No, they did not. Okay, well, I learn something new every day. Well, but I put my knight over here on e4. I'm aiming at that pawn with two pieces. See what they want to do. They probably want to, again, put the knight in here to attack my queen. And then I think I will just slide it back one. Oh, they actually saw that I was attacking the pawn. Good job. Well, let's bring this rook over. I also probably need to give myself an escape here in just a moment. I have a lot of opponents do that, within the first 5 moves, which is interesting. But what does that do? I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and play h6. Oh, I think maybe they were just defending the queen in case we do this trade here on c3. Oh, maybe that's what they meant to do on the previous turn. That seems to make a little bit more sense. Okay, well, they are guarding this backward pawn, but I think I should keep after it. I'm just not sure how exactly. But now their queen is undefended, so let's see how I can get in there. Maybe put the rook here and push this pawn? Maybe that's what I need to do. Because their queen's undefended, so they couldn't take the pawn with their pawn. Oh, they could take with the knight, though. But then I could take the knight with the rook, and they still couldn't take because their queen's undefended. Well, let's try it. I don't know if it's a good idea. But we're going to do it. See if they want to take. They did. I'm going to take there with the rook, and if they take with the pawn, their queen is undefended. They might attack my queen, but they might not. If they do, I think I'll take with the pawn, and then when they take back, I will just maybe move my queen up one or something. But as it stands, I'm up a piece for a pawn. They're giving it a think, which is probably a good idea. I feel like I'm okay with this. Oh, they moved a different pawn. Well, I can take this one now because that c pawn is still pinned. Think. Yeah, let's do that. Aiming at the knight, but not really because it's defended. My knights are defending each other, and my queen is on that front one. But I do need to be careful with the rook. Not sure exactly how this is going to play out. But I'm glad I noticed the pins on that pawn. Oh. They are aiming here. They got out of the pin, so that can take now. So I guess I need to move the rook. I think I just want to move it over here to a4, attack their queen and this pawn. It is defended by my queen. They're going to need to move their queen somewhere. I'm just not sure where. Oh, I shouldn't have been worried about the pawn. I should have just taken the pawn with the knight, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. No, they still have 2 defenders on it. Maybe I should have just gotten in front of it and then taken it. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. They've aimed down here, but I'm defending that. Or maybe they were just getting out of danger. I'm going to take this A pawn. So now I'm up a piece and a pawn. Okay, they pushed that forward. That was probably best. Think I probably have to slide the rook over in front of it now. Yeah, let's do that because my rook was undefended over there on A5. They're going to have to bring a piece somehow or another to... Okay, they brought the knight. I can attack the queen and the pawn at the same time. Is that a good idea? Let's attack the queen, see where it goes, and then I should be able to pick up this pawn. And again, I'm not worried about a check down there on E8 just yet because of my knight defending that square. When they move their queen, I think, depending on where they go, I should get that pawn. Oh, they moved it there. Okay. Well, I'm going to get the pawn then. Pretty sure, unless they have some trick up their sleeve. Let's get the pawn. And when they take back, if they take back, they might not. But if they take back, I should be able to just take it with the rook. They did take back. Okay, I'm going to take it with the rook and see what they do. I notice that their queen is aiming to here. I'm not that worried about it yet because I did make myself an out. Okay, they've gone back. I'm going to check and then check. They have to move this pawn and then I can check here, but their H pawn is defending that. Well, then I will come back up just a little bit so that my queen is defended by the pawn in case my rook has to go somewhere. Also, I'm aimed over there in the corner. Not sure why the arrow didn't draw correctly, but yeah, I'm aimed down at H1 right now. I'm sure they will see it. They did not see it. Okay. Wow. I was worried there several places, but I don't know. I might have been ahead the whole time, but I am back above 1200 just barely. Let's use my only game review for the day, and we will see where I went wrong, assuming that I did in at least one instance. Okay, chess.com must be having a bug of some kind. I've waited for some time and it just stuck here at 1% on this game review. I'm worried that if I refresh the page, it'll say I've used my only game review for the day. But yeah, I've waited for, I don't know how much time that I, cut out here, but let's try to refresh the page. Okay, that did work. It still took longer than usual. Okay, and from the graph, it looks like my opponent played extremely well until their only blunder, and then their last move was a mistake. Although, I think the last move allowed mate, so probably worse than a mistake. But I played perfectly, or very close to it, as close as you'll see at this level. Wow, okay, well good for me. That's a relief, because I had just lost a couple of games earlier today, and I played like a 1950. There, my camera box is gone. You can see the 1950, which I'm pretty happy with. My opponent played like an 1800. Okay, good for them. Okay, like I said, that's a relief. I made an inaccuracy. I guess I should look for that. Was it in the opening? Oh, wow. No, look at that. No inaccuracies until move 24. I wonder if it's possible if the game review gives you a little bit of a boost here, an ego boost, because we're only rated 1100 and something, or at least we both were during that game. I wonder that. I wonder if this was, two 2700s, grandmasters, whatever, if something up here wouldn't have been counted as an inaccuracy because it thinks they ought to know better. I don't know if it's, if it's graded a little bit like that, grades on a curve. Oh, my D4 was an inaccuracy. See, I thought that was the idea. I thought that was a really good move because I knew they wouldn't take it. And I was pretty sure they wouldn't take it this way. But all they had to do, it was inaccurate enough to give them a little bit of an edge. Well, what was the rating before that? Okay, I had a very slight edge here and I should have put the rook back. Oh, well then why wasn't it an inaccuracy to move it over? Wait, let's go back to look at that graph again. Where's the graph? Okay, this little dip right here is the section that I'm looking at. It went below the line in my favor just a little bit right before my inaccuracy. But here it's like -7. Was it ever higher than that? I meant 0.7. Here it's 0.9 if I had played knight to h5 here. Oh, to come after the rook that way? Well, I mean, if they had seen that coming, they just would have played the g-pawn. But it says they wouldn't. It says they just would have moved the rook. But if I'd played knight to h5 here, I would have had 0.92. But I didn't. I was worried about eventual back ranks, so I pushed that pawn. That pushed us closer to even, but my opponent didn't play one of their better moves, so it's 0.6. Again, I should have played knight to h5. Even though I'm not attacking the rook anymore with this, why am I putting the knight on h5? It says I will eventually bring it to f4, but for what? Okay, it looks like maybe the reason that I'm moving it is not to come in here to attack, but to get out of the way of the queen, because in this line anyway, my queen wants to end up on f6. In a different line, my queen ends up on b6, but basically I think it wants the queen out of the way of this rook and pawn and this little stack we've got going on here. So maybe that's what it's about, and f4 just happens to be an okay place to put it eventually. And I would only play the knight to f4 if they did what this suggests, which is put their queen on e2. But the reason that I would put my queen on f6 is because they're about to hop their knight over here on d4. Which is kind of was what I was thinking about when I moved my rook over here. I don't know how eloquent I was while I was also thinking and moving and watching my opponent, and then I'm talking too. I don't know if I properly explained this, but my idea was that, this wasn't going to work. They had that too well defended. So I was thinking about this, knowing that that pawn is pinned. And see, they should have gone to d4 now, and I would have dropped my queen back, and then they would have dropped that knight back so that the pawn is extra protected. But I still would have moved it forward because the rook is there. But when they played a4, I should have played a5 right then. Okay. Or put my rook back. Nope, it did. It got rid of a5. I should have put my queen back or put my rook back over on c8. I thought this was my brilliant move, but okay. All they had to do was move the rook over one. Okay, well, they didn't think of that. I'm glad they didn't, but this is where it went wrong for them right here, because they didn't just move the rook over. They did not realize that their c-pawn was pinned because they took their, which gave me the piece. Okay, so my plan worked because my opponent didn't see what I was after. Same thing with the checkmate at the end. I know that doesn't always work. Very often, my opponent sees what I'm after. I thought this one was going to, and they didn't, so that kind of surprised me in the moment. Okay, they should have taken back. I wasn't sure during the game. I wondered about it. Since I'm already at +5 here, I didn't know that it was a good idea for them to trade, but Stockfish says that it is. Okay, so good job for my opponent for guessing that that was the best move, or maybe there's a reason that it is. In general, I try not to trade off my pieces when I'm down a piece, but sometimes there's a reason why it's good. And here it is, my best move to take the knight. Queen to b3 was one of their better moves here, just to get out of the danger. It eventually decided that what I played was the best move. Okay, it took it a little while. How long did I take on that? Okay, I only took 3 seconds. Stockfish took about 6 seconds here to determine that that was my best move. I feel good when that happens. King to h2 is their best move, and was queen to c7 mine? Yes. Oh no, it changed its mind right before I clicked the next button. Okay, just for a split second there. g3 was their best move. Was queen to c6 mine? Yes, it was. Okay, well, I feel good about that too. See, I thought they were going to figure out a way to block this, like moving the rook over or playing f3, and so I was surprised when they played that move. I didn't know what that accomplished, but maybe they were done, and that happens sometimes. Sometimes you realize that, you're down, you're going to lose, and you don't feel like prolonging the game any longer. I understand that. Or they just might not have seen that the reason I put my queen there was aiming down there. As I said during the game, one reason for moving it here was just so that it would be defended in case I wanted to move the rook again. But the other reason was because I saw that square. So, okay. Well, that worked out pretty well. And I'm always glad that it works out well when I'm on camera. It's bad enough to lose when you're playing chess game or any other game, but about half the time when I lose, I'm recording it and then I put it on YouTube and everybody sees that. So it's always nice to win when I'm recording. Let me know how you're doing in your chess journey, and I'll see you next time.